So there's multiple Christmas messages with the mushroom, and I've actually written another whole book that'll be out, and I'm going to give you the number here in a second. But
yeah, give us that number. I want to take it down, too.
Okay, the phone number to call for videotapes or the book, we have a signed, I'll sign them for you. No big deal, no charge. But the number is 559-877-7573.
One more time for us, James.
559-877-7573. Now, the best thing to do is call and just leave your number, because if a bunch of people are calling, they won't have time to, really explain everything to you real well. And since you can't go see what's available on the web, you're going to need a little bit of time to know what we have available as far as materials go. And lots of this stuff is covered in those things.
Can they order right off the web if they have computers?
Yeah, definitely. You can go right onto the web, and that'll give you the thing. We take PayPal and all that kind of stuff. So, but we think we have a very good product, so you guys can support it that way.
Good for you. Tell me about your seminar with William, and then we'll take some calls.
Okay, now, one thing is we're doing the Conscious Living Expo in February. Me and William are doing the Stargate Mystery School, where we're going to give you an actual initiation. See, one of the things about this dispensation is that we're coming out of the closet, so to speak. All this knowledge is coming back into the world, and it's not being held for those elite anymore. So what we're doing in L.A. is on February 22nd, we're doing a Stargate initiation at the Hacienda Hotel. Now, the weekend before that, February 15th weekend, is the Conscious Living Expo. Now, that's a big thing down in L.A. that's put on by the people that do the Whole Life Expo. It's the new thing, and there's going to be some very interesting people there, and we're doing
I may be there that weekend, and if I am, I'll drop by, all right?
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
We'll have to go hang out. We got to eat dinner, something like that.
No mushrooms.
Oh, yeah, let's eat mushrooms, but not, not the ones that alter our consciousness. Let's just have some good old-fashioned edible ones. Now, let's see, is there anything else?
Well, can they get information on these sessions on the web as well?
Yes, they can get that on the web. And also in May, we're going to France, and we're doing this Holy Grail thing. Now, if you think this information is interesting about Christmas, that's just a little bit of it. Wait till you find out about the Holy Grail. Now, this is very heavy. It's me and William Henry and Lawrence Gardner.
Right, yeah. That's going to be one heck of a trick. I definitely want you, and William's going to be on the end of January, but I definitely want you and William to be back on when you come back from that trip, and I assume you'll come back sometime in May?
I'm at your disposal, George.
Okay, we'll do that. And also, we're going to find out if Planet X is going to be around by then.
Oh, yeah.
You never know.
That'll be interesting. If it comes by, maybe we'll be in France at the time.
Let's go to the phones. Let's go to our wild card line. Welcome to Coast. You're on the air with James Arthur.
Good evening, gentlemen. This is Larry from Fort Lauderdale.
Hello, Larry.
How you doing?
Good.
I wanted to ask Mr. Arthur this. Assuming that all of this is what he says it is, and a big vat of mushrooms could solve the Palestinian problem and probably the Iraq war while we're at it, and maybe even something else by bringing people's minds where they need to be. What about the lingering things that we were taught in the 70s and 80s about kids going into fields with cows, boiling these things, being rushed to emergency rooms with their livers overdosing and things like that? Separate from the legal issue, what does he have to say about, the dangers that were put in our heads about these type of hallucinogens?
Fair enough. Go ahead, James.
Well, if you're asking me if there's anything we can do to prevent stupidity, I don't think so. So if people are stupid enough to go pick mushrooms without understanding and knowing exactly what they are, no matter at any time in human history, people were capable of poisoning themselves.
And again, at the outset of the show, it was almost a demand by you where you said, do not pick mushrooms in the wild, people.
Absolutely. In fact, let me say that again quite clearly. Do not go out and pick mushrooms until you totally know what you're doing.
And how many years did it take a lot of people to know what they were doing?
Well, within a year, you'll have a pretty good idea of not how to poison yourself. It's not like rocket science. I mean, as far as knowing the different mushrooms go, that's very simple. That's simple. Just
I'm not sure I'd take a chance, James. You know what? I'm dumb enough when it comes to stuff like that to go hunt. I'd rather buy them in a store.
And that's your prerogative, sure.
Let's go next up, west of the Rockies. You are on Coast to Coast. Hi there.
Hello?
Yes, it's you.
Hi. I got two questions.
Sure.
One is, in your book, do you go into detail on the proper diet you were talking about? And also, can you use mushrooms to access a place, go somewhere to access healing?
That's a good question, Jane.
Most definitely. Yes, a lot of healing is emotional. When you get rid of emotional baggage, you can start physical healing. Everybody knows that stress and these type of emotional problems create disease, and that one of the greatest ways to eliminate disease is to eliminate some stress. So, when you start to take care of yourself and your body and your mind, psychologically, then you can do a lot better with any type of other plant remedies that you want to use to solve diseases too.
And your other question, I think, had to do with diet.
And yeah, that's not in this book. There's another book that's coming out called Mushrooms, Ayahuasca, and DMT, The Keys to the Doorways of Eternity, and that book is not due out until later this year. But yes, that one talks about the base diet that you need in order to have proper production of your endogenous brain chemicals.
Very good. Next up, let's go to another wild card line. Welcome to Coast to Coast. Hi there.
Hi, George. James,
yes.
How are you doing tonight?
Good. Where are you calling from tonight?
I'm calling from Portland, Oregon.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
I have a question for James, and I'll ask the question. I'll take his response off the air.
All right.
My question is, I wanted to know your thoughts, James, on the theory that hallucinogenics can enable one to conquer their worst fears, and if so, where did this theory come about from, and where it's at today? And is it just while you're under the influence of these substances, or is it lasting after you're off the influence? And I'll hang up and take your response off the air.
Okay,
right.
Well, no, hang around for a second. Okay. Yeah, this is a very good question. Now, one of the main things that you look to as a shaman is conquering the fear. The fear aspect is always a part of everything. It's always a part of life, and it's always a part of everybody's self-understanding and knowledge. When they really start to look at themselves, is are you alive? Are you going to exist forever? This knowledge of whether or not we're immortal is part of this fear process, and that's why when people get close to death, things like that happen, they go through this massive, complete breakdown of fear, and that's what happens actually when you die. It's the same thing. So the near-death experience, or the death and rebirth experience of the shamanic practice, is actually a preparation for that death experience, and it's the fear that you need to conquer to be able to maintain control when you step out of this body and get ready for your next one. So I would recommend a video series by Joseph Campbell for that one. So
okay, the ability for people to travel to God knows where, literally. How long does the effect last? Minutes? Hours?
Well, it depends on which particular doorway you're entering. There's some doorways that you can go in and be right back out in about 5 minutes. There's some doorways that you go in and you're there for 2 or 3 hours, and there's some doorways that you go in and you're there for a good 8 hours. Now, there's also another one at the iboga, Tabernathy iboga plant root, which has been used very successfully for curing addiction. And this one takes about 3 or 4 days. When you go on an experience with that, you don't even want to move. You don't want to get up. And this is one of the most incredible experiences, is the iboga plant is so friendly to humans and actually communicates so clearly and easily. A lot of these plants, when you start to learn how to speak their language and you start communicating with them, it's not easy. This is a very difficult thing. Well, the Tabernathy iboga root is a very, very friendly, simple plant. And that's one where you lay down, and for 4 days you go through the greatest psychoanalysis you could ever imagine. And this is why it's used for addiction treatment.